Your Excellency, Ambassador Sarah Al Bakri Devadason, Permanent Representative of Malaysia to ASEAN, and the Chair of the Committee of Permanent Representatives to ASEAN. Excellencies, Permanent Representatives to ASEAN, Excellencies, Ambassadors of High Contract Parties to the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in South Asia, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I warmly welcome all of you to the ASEAN Headquarters, ASEAN Secretariat, for the second conference of the High Contracting Parties to the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in South Asia, TAC. I also extend my appreciation to the Chair of the Committee of Permanent Representatives for steering this important initiative. With just 1 year before we mark the 50th anniversary of the TAC, its reach has grown significantly from 5 original signatories in 1976 to more than 10 times that number today. The treaty's widening membership underscores its recognition and the confidence that nations across the globe place in it as a framework for peace, cooperation, and partnership. Our theme, Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in South Asia, Challenges and Opportunities, Past, Present, and Future, invites us to take stock of the TAC's legacy, to reaffirm its principles, and to ask how this key instrument remains relevant at a time of deep uncertainty, with wars, conflicts, and geopolitical rivalries straining the foundations of international law and multilateral cooperation. It also reminds us that ASEAN's commitment to the TAC is part of a broader effort to uphold the UN Charter, strengthen multilateralism, and contribute to international peace and security. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, since its founding in 1967, ASEAN has demonstrated that regional cooperation delivers stability and progress. From the 5 founding members at the outset, ASEAN today unites 10 nations, with Timor Leste slated to join soon. The ASEAN 2045, our shared future, adopted at the 46th ASEAN Summit early this year, charts our ambition to strengthen resilience, deepen integration, and sustain ASEAN's role as a proactive force for peace and prosperity in our region. The TAC, signed in 1976, embodies these aspirations. It affirms principles of peaceful settlement of disputes, renunciation of the use of force or the threat of use of force, mutual respect, and cooperation. Principles that were set out in the 1967 Bangkok Declaration and later codified in the ASEAN Charter. Today, they provide the foundation of ASEAN's soft power, attracting like-minded partners and fostering a broader community of friendship and cooperation. As a milestone in ASEAN's history, the TAC provided the normative framework for both community building and external engagement. It remains an important prerequisite for participation in ASEAN-led mechanisms such as the East Asia Summit and the ASEAN Defense Ministers Meeting Plus. To date, 57 countries, spanning all continents, have acceded to the treaty, and with more in line. This not only affirms its enduring relevance, but also underscores ASEAN's role in upholding multilateralism, peace, and security. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, our achievements are real, but the context around us is increasingly difficult. Respect for international law is eroding, global tensions are intensifying, and armed conflicts continue to inflict unimaginable human suffering and disrupt economies. Closer to home, the Indo-Pacific is not immune to these pressures. Long-standing disputes and simmering flashpoints could escalate rapidly if preventive diplomacy and mechanisms for conflict management and resolution falter apart. The recent flare-up along the borders of two ASEAN member states is a stark reminder that peace can never be taken for granted, even in our own region. ASEAN's own experience in consensus building and preventive diplomacy offers a valuable model for how dialogue and restraint can help avoid escalation and build trust among states. The way forward lies in the collective resolve of all high contracting parties. Upholding the TAC's principles with sincerity is not only about ASEAN's credibility as a driver of peace and cooperation, it is also about safeguarding the region's peace, stability, and prosperity. The TAC gives us a practical toolkit to advance this shared responsibility, and I would like to highlight 3 ways we can do so. First, reaffirming commitments to the TAC. ASEAN and all signatories must continue to uphold the purposes and principles of the TAC and promote genuine dialogue as the primary means to resolve differences. Second, broadening the TAC's fundamental role. With an expanded number of signatories, the treaty demonstrates the appeal of ASEAN's values and norms. We should work together to ensure these principles help shape relations, not only within Southeast Asia, but also among the wider community of nations. And 3, harnessing untapped potential of the TAC. Beyond peace and security, the TAC provides a practical framework for cooperation in economic, social, cultural, scientific, technical, and administrative fields. Last year, during the first conference of the high contracting parties to the TAC, the ASEAN Secretariat introduced the modalities for possible cooperation under the TAC framework to encourage all high contracting parties that are not former partners of ASEAN to pursue practical cooperation with ASEAN in areas of mutual interest. We strongly encourage high contracting parties to make full use of these modalities to foster fruitful engagements and collaboration with ASEAN. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, next year's 50th anniversary of the TAC, a significant milestone of this key instrument, offers a valuable opportunity to raise its profile and reaffirms its purpose. In this regard, the upcoming draft resolution on the TAC at the 80th session of the UN General Assembly later this year will be a significant milestone. It will be just the second ASEAN-sponsored resolution on the TAC since the first in 1992. One of the aims of this conference is to generate fresh ideas and bold initiatives to mark the anniversary, and the ASEAN Secretariat stands ready to support member states in this effort. In closing, at a time when global uncertainties are multiplying, the TAC stands as a shared commitment to cooperation built on trust, respect, equality, and inclusivity. Its principles remain as relevant today as they were in 1976. What will matter most is how we apply these key principles in practice through our diplomacy, our mechanisms to cooperation or for cooperation, and our everyday engagements with one another. Only by doing so can the TAC continue to actually serve as a cornerstone of peace and cooperation for all the high contracting parties for the decades ahead. I thank you and wish all of you a productive and meaningful conference.